think anyone that's a truck enthusiast has at some point dreamed about owning a complete showstopper. So for this go around, I figured let's take a look at some of the best custom classic trucks that I've shot throughout the year, and maybe to give you guys some inspiration. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Chevys that I've seen throughout the year. There's a lot of them, and mostly they are C10s, like the 75 Chevy that's behind me. It's owned by my friends at TCI. This truck came from Square Body Syndicate, and they called it Ivy League, and the name is pretty much stuck since then. But TCI had made this truck their test mule for their bolt-on coilover system, and trust me, this truck rips. I've taken it on the track before, and it's a whole lot of fun. And to back all that up, they dropped in an LS2 engine with a 6L80E transmission and threw a bunch of LS3 goodies at it to make sure it goes fast. As far as paint is concerned, they've changed it up a little bit. It's got a blue and white paint job now, which is two-tone, which is pretty much the standard when it comes to square bodies and what you're gonna do with these trucks. It's been immortalized a little bit. There is a miniature of this that I have. It's a little bit different because that was before the paint job. Now the truck kind of looks like SSO1, which is also a legend when it comes to square bodies. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because basically that truck is in the past and that's not within this past year. But yeah, this is pretty much a standard when it comes to square bodies. Let's take a look at some of the real stunners on this list. And my favorite is Bernard Steimann's 1963 Chevy C10. I'm a big fan of first-gen C10s, and the Kindig design team really knocked this one out of the park. As you can see, it sits flat on the ground thanks to a Scott's Hot Rods chassis to tuck the one-off EVOD Industries wheels. It's powered by a 572 big block engine with stacked injection. The Kindig team really massaged this thing clean by shaving all the seams, and they also created a center opening hood that has a modified body line to go around the stacked injection. They also highly modified the bumpers and flipped the front grille and added bigger headlights. They topped it all off with a black paint job to show all the bodywork on it. This thing is absolutely flawless, and it's probably one of the most expensive C10s that I have seen. The rumor is that $500,000 to $1 million went into this truck, and it shows it. It's absolutely insane. I shot it in Salt Lake City near Kindig's headquarters, and I'm really enamored with this thing. Man, what a ride. Up next, we have Wally Logan's 1970 C10 race truck built by Barry's Speed Shop. I think the only original part of the truck is the cab, as all other body panels are made of custom carbon fiber to save weight. Underneath it is a TCI coilover chassis with the added strength of a roll cage. It's powered by an LT5 supercharged engine that pushes out 625 horsepower and 610 foot-pounds of torque. Barry thinks it's a bit heavy, and he can cut around 200 pounds by changing over to an LS engine. The radiator is in the back with the mounts for ballast for weight distribution, as you want about 50-50 weight distribution front and rear to make the most out of your power on a race course. It also has full racing seats and a harness, and trust me, they are needed. I went for a ride in this thing at a recent corner exit racing event, and I was being flung around all over the place. I would have been either in the front windshield or out the door if it wasn't for that equipment. This truck is basically a supercar with a truck body, and there's definitely more to come as it's ever evolving as a race vehicle. My friends at Fat Fender Garage really know how to create some jaw-dropping Fords, but they also know how to make some cool Chevys. Take, for example, Paul Treadwell's 1985 Chevy C10 that really had heads turning at the SEMA show. This thing sits flat on the ground thanks to an airbag GSI chassis, and if you looked up front, you would have noticed a 6.2 liter LS with a Magnuson supercharger. And I really liked how this thing was set up. You didn't see any hoses, any wires. It was just super clean, just the engine, and that was about it. On the interior is just about the same, super clean with some Relicate leather. And on the outside, the grille was customized and the rest of the body was highly modified. You may have noticed the side mirrors were removed, and to help with the visuals while driving, the front marker lights were replaced by cameras. But what really set this thing apart from the rest was the BASF paint that was done with some unique stripes that really tied into something you would see from the 80s. On the Chevy side as well, OBS trucks are really popular, and I haven't shot too many of them because the level at which I shoot one of these trucks has to be all the way at the top, and they're still kind of new into the classic scene, but they can still give you some lower truck inspiration. And I could tell you that Volker created a really cool truck out of an Indy truck, So let's check it out. Jeff Volker is no newcomer when it comes to the truck scene, and a number of years back he acquired an ultra rare Indy 500 pace truck. He didn't plan on getting it, it just ended up being a deal that he got, and he had no idea what he was going to do with it, and the more he thought about it, he decided he was going to go all out with this truck. He enlisted the help of Josh Hart of Hart Fab to get all the metalwork straight, add some mods like the custom sheet metal work that surrounds the supercharged LS engine under the hood. Once they got all the metal work done, they body worked it and they repainted the truck to make it look better than ever. They also added some replica stickers to tie back into the original pace truck look. And what sets this thing really down is the Roadster Shop Low Pro airbag chassis that allows it to sit on top of the 22 and 24-inch billet specialties wheels with Nitto NT 420V tires to top it all off. Jeff's version of this legendary pickup will be remembered for ages. Other than that, when it comes to Chevys, we also have advanced design trucks and task force trucks from 55 through 59. Now, there's less of these out there because of how older they are. When you get into those mid-century trucks, they have a lot of rust, so it's harder to build them. It takes a lot more money. You got to replace a lot more parts. But hey, let's check out what I did shoot. Chevy task force trucks of the 1950s can look super clean when built correctly. This was inside Kirk Sanella's head when he was looking for a truck that he and his wife could enjoy. He came across this 57 Chevy as a buddy owned it. After scooping it up, Kirk ditched the tired old frame and swapped in a TCI airbag chassis with Budnick wheels covered in Nitto Invo tires to make it ride like a modern vehicle. Under the hood is an LS2 engine, and inside the cab is custom upholstery by SoCal Rods. Refreshing the overall look is a coating of Porsche Adgate paint laid down by Customs by Lopez to make this truck a real looker. When it comes to Americana, trucks of the mid-century are as iconic as it gets. Wanting to fix up his classic 47 Chevy pickup, David Ziser came across Diggs' Rod Shop by simply driving past it. Once at the shop, the tired original frame was replaced by a modern Art Morrison coilover chassis setup and 18-inch Detroit steel wheels wrapped in Nitto NT 555 G2 tires. A powerhouse blueprint engine 6.2-liter LS now lurks under the hood, while the cab got a luxurious upgrade with distressed brown leather on the inside. Additionally, the body received a custom PPG paint job to finish the modern twist on this American classic, proving that old dogs can learn new tricks. All right, moving on from Chevys. Yes, I shoot a lot of Chevys. It's just what's out there. I have a lot of demand for it. There are some other trucks like Ford trucks, for example, and there's less of them out there, which makes them extra special. The folks at Classic Car Studio are super talented, and they did a number on Wade Sutton's 1956 Ford F600 Dually. This was a farm truck, and Wade wanted to make it a clean build that his family can fit in, and they could cruise around, go to shows, all that stuff. The truck has extra doors with a pillarless suicide rear opening. The body was also massaged and has a hand-built bed with running boards. It sits on top of a Porterbuilt airbag chassis to fit 22-inch Alcoa semi-truck wheels. It also has a 1,000 horsepower, 6.7-liter Cummins turbo diesel engine to get this thing moving. Up next, we have Rick Clutter's 1961 Ford F100 Unibody, nicknamed Nightmare. These trucks are rare, and I love the style of them. Ford did good on these trucks, at least style-wise, but they had a short run as the bodies would bend when put to the test with heavy loads in the bed, and sometimes the doors wouldn't shut because of this. Anyways, Rick Clutter's truck was the brainchild of Bob Grant of Grant Customs, who not only chopped the top, but sectioned the body to make it even lower and added suicide hinges to the doors. This airbag truck has been in and out of shops for a number of years as it was a very demanding build. In 2019, it was brought into Premier Street Rod to get finished, and you can even catch it in my first Bottom Line video, which was shot at their shop. While there, Brandon Cisco was brought in to massage the body, which was later painted in a menacing black. The truck even takes some inspiration from vintage GT40 race cars, with a Ford 302 engine that has a stacked Inglis injection system and custom-made seats that have a similar design to the historic race car. With all these mods, this truck is definitely one for the books, and I'm glad to have shot it. And the shoot was one for the books as well, as it was 113 degrees when I shot it. Yeah, talk about a good meltdown test for my cameras. All right, talking about least popular trucks, Let's talk about Dodge trucks. There's less of them out there. There's less aftermarket support for them, so it makes it harder to work on them, but also makes them more unique, and all the more power to you if you can build one. For some, it's Mopar or no car, and Justin Reed decided to go all in with his 1989 Ram D150. To get this one going, he was able to find a 5.7 liter Hemi with an 8-speed transmission from a 2016 pickup for only $2,700, and it worked amazing on this truck. But seeing how there is a lack of parts for these trucks, in order to drop it, he had to use Dodge van lower control arms and fabricate his own uppers. The back was a bit easier, as all he needed was an axle flip kit, but he did add a custom torque arm to help prevent wheel hop when smashing the gas pedal. On the outside is the factory white paint, and the look was dressed up with satin gray paint on key pieces. Adding style is a set of 20-inch Coys wheels, and the interior was upholstered in red leather. Unfortunately, the truck was rear-ended by somebody and completely totaled. Luckily, Justin was fine and was able to source out a new truck to swap most of the parts to. It sucks to see things like this happen, but at least he was able to pick up the pieces and move on. Well, on top of that, there are some oddballs out there. I know I've shot a couple throughout this year, not too many. Internationals stick into my mind. I haven't shot a Studebaker, that's also an oddball. I can't think of any others domestically, but if you can, drop that stuff in the comment section below. Let me know, because maybe it's something I want to shoot. Always wanting to build something different from the rest, Tony Leal is not afraid to break new ground with his ideas. Recently, he found a classic 4-door pickup online and was inspired to build it as a family cruiser. It turned out to be a pile of junk, and a buddy found this 68 International Travelette, which was in better shape. Of course, everything Tony builds is slammed, so we had a custom airbag chassis built in order for it to lay the body on the ground while tucking a set of 20-inch Advent Guard SR10 wheels with Nitto NT555 G2 tires. Getting this truck going is a modern 5.3 liter Chevy LT engine that roars with a custom stainless steel exhaust system with Borla mufflers. This one is super unique and looks absolutely wild while rolling on the streets. All right, other than that, most of my clients are looking for classic trucks that are full size, and every once in a while I get to shoot a Mini. They're not as popular in the show scene out there, but they are there, and let me tell you, if you own one, you want some inspiration, I can tell you that there's a lot of technology, a lot of parts nowadays. You can easily work on these things, and even on the cheap a little bit, you don't have to do too much fabrication, so let's dig in. Earlier this year at Lone Star Throwdown, I was able to shoot this Chevy S10 that has been immortalized with a miniaturized real Hot Wheels. This truck was built by Steve Platt over 20 years ago, and he was inspired to have Ryan Evans of Chaotic Customs, who now works at Counts Customs, give it a Hot Wheels themed paint job. And it turned out so cool that Mattel actually made a toy version of this truck. Now owned by Don Garling Jr., this truck has had a few recent upgrades, like a set of 20-inch Hot Rods by Boyd billet wheels with Nitto NT555 G2 tires for their stunning tread design and gripping capabilities. It's great to see iconic trucks like this getting the love they deserve, and I am super honored to have shot it with my old S10 that is now owned by my buddy Jeff Baum. Well, everyone, I hope you liked this video and like seeing everything that I shot that was relevant and cool this past year. And if you made it this far, I want to thank you, and please do me a favor by liking this video. If you have other trucks you think that I should shoot, feel free to drop a comment down below. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a future video, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.